What's up? It's Mindless Hulk, and I'm with Suave the Model. We're going to be talking about my MMA debut and a few things that happened at my boxing fight. I'm happy y'all are joining us and hope you enjoy.
They say pain is an illusion. This is just a bruise and you are just confused, but I am only human. I could use a hand sometimes. I am only human.
This is Suave the Model. Interviews with public figures and I offer knowledge. When it comes to real estate, consider me a GOAT. Whoa. This is Suave.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Suave the Model, back with another video. Today we're doing my first ever virtual interview with my boy. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Dylan, Mindless Hulk, Budka.
And tell us a little bit about your fighting style, your MMA training. Just tell us a little bit about your history, what got you here today.
What started me here right now is I started off with wrestling. I started wrestling in high school, my junior year of high school. And from there, I went straight into everything pretty much. And I just fell in love with all of it. And it's been a pretty fun journey. And I'm finally starting to get to the point where I want to be at. And now that I've met the new people that I train with and the gym that I train out of now, things are starting to flip. Like you can feel when the switch is starting to flip, kind of. And that's what I feel like right now, that I'm finally in the direction I need to be headed towards.
So what has been the hardest part of your training, and what type of styles do you do when it comes to your training and fighting actual matches?
I pretty much do every bit of it, from jiu-jitsu, grappling, Muay Thai, boxing. Right now I'm training every bit of it just to be ready for the top people, because the goal isn't just to be an amateur fighter. The goal isn't just to be a hometown hero. The goal is to make it to the big show and be the best in the world. Okay,
and what would you say is the style of fighting that just, if it comes to this, you better stop now? Like, if you go toe-to-toe with another fighter who does the same style, what is something that they have no chance of winning?
My grappling is probably the best thing I got going for me right now. Right. That's I learn it so quick, and when I'm doing it and I'm taught something new, it takes like 10, 15 minutes, and I got it down. I'm ready for the next thing.
Right. And I know, I'm not sure the guy's name that you had a couple practices with. It's a young black male. He's like stocky, but he don't got no legs or something like that. But I know he's very talented. What's his name?
Zion. Yeah.
Yeah, I seen that he's extremely strong. Like, if I had his upper body, I'd probably be doing sports too. But he's a very talented act to follow, and I'm sure to grapple with when he has that advantage of all he knows is upper body. So you know what I mean? It's very challenging. So to see you training with different people that might be even more advanced than you or at the same level as you shows that you have determination to get better and not just ease by because I'm just the best at this one specific area.
Right.
What are you most excited for, and what are you most nervous about when it comes to switching over to like officially be in the MMA league?
What I'm most excited for is just to be able to show my own type of fighting I have, like how I'm authentic with what I do, how I fight, and what I've been just kind of like showing what I've been sacrificing just to let people know what I'm doing and how I do it, because it's been a long time that I've waited just to get this first fight and get this out of the way, get my feet wet, and let people start noticing me. And I'm just really excited to get there. What I'm nervous about, I don't really think I'm nervous about anything. I've been waiting so long. I've been picturing what I want to happen, and I'm ready for it to come to reality. Right. It's been a long time.
So how did you get the name Mindless Hulk? Like was that given to you? Was that just earned through your rounds and stuff, or?
So it started my junior year of high school when I just started wrestling. Mm-hmm. There was a newspaper article, and it was one match. I was just killing the dude, and it was actually when I first started getting good at wrestling. And I would just look angry as hell out there, and the guy he was like Dylan the Hawk Budka in the newspaper.
Right.
And I have the article somewhere. I'll send you a picture or something of it.
Right.
And I just went for that. For a while, I was just Dylan the Hawk Budka, and then one day I was looking up something, or I was looking up a Marvel movie, and there was actually a Hulk in the comics book named Mindless Hulk, and he's like the angriest Hulk of all of them. And I wanted to be different than just the Hulk, so I went with Mindless Hulk.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think it definitely complements your styles of fighting and you being able to control your anger at the same time, and get the job done, which is very, very rare in a lot of fighters. You know what I mean? They have that ability to knock somebody out, but they don't believe in themselves. They got the ability to knock somebody out, but they don't put that work in from behind the scenes. So I was actually thinking about it. I just walked home from the mall and everything, and I was thinking about it before I called you. I'm thinking like you kind of remind me a little bit of Tyson in his early years, where he was just so ambitious, so reckless, and so quick to learn and to just perfect what he had, what he was blessed with. And, when I see you picking up new styles of fighting and, not losing sight of what you already knew, but bringing that to another level of greatness is just amazing. And it makes you that top star, and it lives up to the hype, And I'm definitely excited to see what the next level has in store for you. Is there anything that we can expect to see as far as the next level from you? Like we've those who know of you, they've seen the old you, the you before you started training and getting better at boxing. Because even the other day, I seen you post on your Instagram a video of you knocking somebody out. And as somebody who, like you said, is talented mostly when it comes to grappling, to see you knock somebody out who all they do is boxing, it's like, yo, this dude is legit, So how did it feel to have that knockout, and what can we expect at the next level that maybe some people might not have even expected from you?
When I went out there for the fight, I was actually highly nervous. That was actually the first time in my career I was nervous in the first round. And I actually started warming up. There was 8 fights on the card. I started warming up on the third on the third fight. So I was warming up for about an hour before my fight. I just didn't do it right. And I don't know if it was nerves or it was the fact that, I don't know, but the first round I went out there, I was a little shaky. And throughout the whole fight, he only punched me one time. And that first time was in the first round. And that's when I was like, okay, this is real. I got to kick it in gear. And then I went into the corner, and my coach was like, you need to step it up. You look sloppy. And that's when it woke me up a little bit. And I wasn't really nervous about going into the fight because I knew what my coaches here have showed me was going to go right into effect when I got in there.
Right.
And I actually only had a month of actual boxing training for that fight. And 1 week of that, I actually had an injury in my left shoulder that I couldn't even throw a punch with my left shoulder pretty much. So I only had about 2.5 weeks of boxing training to go in against a guy that's had about 10, 15 fights.
Right. And
I wasn't as clean as I wanted to look throughout the whole fight, but when I seen the opening and I took the punch that I needed to do, I came and got the job done against an experienced boxer for my first boxing fight.
Right.
And it was fun. And right afterwards, I wanted to get another fight, and I'm just excited to keep getting more fights. And if it wasn't for all this COVID crap, I would probably have another fight this month.
Right.
But it's just such a slow process right now. But I'm ready. What you say was next? You said what was next?
Yeah. So I was going to say, so what is next for the Mindless Hulk or Dylan?
This Saturday I actually have a jiu-jitsu tournament coming up. I'm going to be going against some pretty experienced jiu-jitsu guys. I don't know who they are or anything yet because I didn't even know what this guy looked like that I was boxing until the day of the fight.
Right.
I don't really do that because you start getting in your own head, thinking too much.
Right.
And then after that, I'm planning for a fight in August, on August 15th, either Kentucky or St. Louis. So, and that'll be MMA. That'll be my MMA debut for amateur.
So is there any MMA fighters or styles that you can relate to mostly, like based on your training? Any MMA fighters that you kind of, I wouldn't say idolize, but get inspiration from as far as, stepping out of their comfort zone or perfecting a certain craft? Or certain
Well, boxers I look up to and like I study mostly is Tommy Morrison, Mike Tyson, and then MMA fighters that I study the most are McGregor because of his striking.
Right.
And then I'll watch a lot of Khabib's wrestling videos because he's just a dog at wrestling against the cage and everything.
Right.
And then just a lot of I go around to most people and just check them out, see what I can pick up from that, and add to my game, kind of. So if there's something I see and that guy does it, but I don't like all of it, but I like what he does with one part of it, I'll just add it to a piece of what I do and then put it together into one thing.
So another question I have is, I mean, I've been around you in person. What's been your official height and weight at this last fight and going into the next fight? What is your official height and weight?
This last fight, this boxing fight I had was actually a really hard cut for me because I think it was mostly because of the corona and I had that month off and there was not many gyms open. But I came to this gym when I moved from Baltimore and I came to Ohio. I came to the gym and I was around 235 and I had to make this fight for 204, 201, 204. And
in a month?
About 3 days before the fight, I was about 20 over, and the day of weigh-ins, I made weight at the correct weight. And it was so hard. My mouth was pussing open and stuff, bro. My face was all sunk in. I did it bad, but this next cut will be better for my next fight. I'll be healthy.
Right. Well, man, that's, that I know it takes a lot of wear and tear on your body long term, but you seem to be handling it very well. I think that, because of the experience you have from wrestling, which is, very difficult as well, to maintain your weight. You gotta put on muscle but still lose weight to stay in your weight class. You don't want to go too heavy, too light based on your opponent as well. So, what has been the hardest part about your training process? Like, is it more so like the physical training, the mental training? Like, what goes into the actual training behind the scenes?
Well, right now I'm actually living in a gym in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Not hard to get up and say, let's go, let's get it going, because I'm already 5 feet away from the mats in the weight room. I think the hardest thing would be discipline with like sitting there and just learning the move, because my mind moves so quick. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to do it. Let's go into the next thing. Right. I just want to rush it. But I'm trying to get a little better at it. I think that would be the worst thing that I have a problem with right now. Just sitting there, focusing, and just doing that one thing without thinking about 20 other things. I don't know if it's because I'm just pumped up to learn or I have ADHD. I don't know what the hell it is.
Right. So what advice could you give somebody who's looking to go into MMA, boxing, or just, show their true talents when it comes to fighting? What advice would you give them as far as like being mentally stable and how to handle taking a win and taking a loss? Because I do think there is a difference. You can knock out everybody, but until you actually get that first, rude awakening, that first hit that bring you back here, what advice could you give that person looking to make a name for themselves?
If you're gonna do it, take it on 100%. You can't half-ass it. You can't say, I want to do it this day, but tomorrow I'm going to take a break. It's going to have to be, I want to do this forever.
Right. And
you're going to have to sacrifice people in your life. You're going to have to sacrifice time, a lot of time. You're going to have to sacrifice a lot of things. Right. Like, it's not easy. I'm not going to sit here and say it's easy. I mean, I've been doing it for a year and a half, 2 years now, and I'm just finally starting to get my fights now.
Right.
It's going to take time. It's patience. Surround yourself around a team that actually wants to see you excel, not just, just wants to see you do good as much as they want to do good. And when you do it and you get to the top, remember who was around you. Remember who was actually supporting you and helping you learn the things that you didn't know, and not just give up on you, or when it didn't click, or when you had a due date and the date didn't work out, they gave up on you because they think you were bluffing. Right. Just stick with the people that were around you. And when you're going through the hard cuts and you're going against these opponents and you're in your training camp, keep your head straight. Surround yourself around your friends. Call your friends. Travel. Because it's going to be, it's not a race. It's a marathon.
Right.
You got to take it slow. You got to pace yourself. If not, you're just going to go back to the bottom every time.
So, as far as building the brand, the Mindless Hulk, I know on Instagram you also have like 14, 15K. How hard was it to build that support, or did that come with you just being the wrestler, being in the newspapers, and because you're also from an area of, Baltimore, Maryland, in the city where, being white isn't, so supportive of, what I mean? It's very hard to stand out because everybody feel like, it's Baltimore or die, you feel me? All that, gang life around there. How did you find that maturity and that ability to say, I'm going to do something that not a lot of people do out here, and that's fight with my hands and dominate everyone?
Well, being from Baltimore and how it is there and what goes on there all the time, your main goal should be to get out of Baltimore. Even though how much I love my city and love being there, being around my people, being in that culture, the most important thing you want to do is get out of there, because if you're wanting to do something big, you want to do something good, it's gonna be tougher to do it there because of the things that happen there.
Right.
And that's always been my main goal, is to, even though I love my city, I love Baltimore, I love all the people in Baltimore, it's just not safe in Baltimore.
Right.
And how I got all the people, it is from the newspapers and just promoting myself, because before I got noticed and people started noticing what I was doing and I got athletic, I was the only one promoting myself, and it just caught up to itself, and then people just started promoting me too, and then I meet people like you, and meet people that want to hear my story, and stuff like that, and that's just how it works out.
Yeah, man. So look, it definitely sounds like, and even when we talked in person, it definitely seems like it's a lot of hard work that goes in behind the scenes that people don't necessarily see. And that's probably why they have that mindset when they think of you or they think of me, where we're, shining a little brighter than somebody else, where they have this mindset of, oh, he just, it's just one video. He just got lucky. He's using other people. People are using him. They come up with all these excuses as to why you don't belong there. And I think that can be very hard to handle as well if you don't prepare your mind mentally for it. But I definitely respect your grind and respect your hustle, because even you having as many followers, supporters, and fan base than compared to me, you still put me on and still allow me to do this interview with you, which there are people out there who have 10,000 and they're like, nah, man, you're not worth it, da-da-da. But you come on here and you can see you're a genuine person, and you want to see, like I said, if you're from Baltimore, you're from Maryland, you want to put everybody on, but you got to make sure that person that you put on is dedicated to making themselves look better. And I think that's another thing that, is very scary too, because you don't want to put somebody in the spotlight, they're not ready for it. Somebody gets too cocky, start feeling themselves, start getting comfortable with that position, and they don't want nothing better. So what would you say is the hardest part about boxing now that you've started it? What's the hardest part about boxing with somebody? Because I know that you said even when you first got hit, it was a shocker to you. It was something to adjust to. How do you prepare yourself for a fight in MMA versus how you prepare yourself for a boxing fight? Was it kind of the same, or is it different?
Boxing, it's a lot of boxing, I would say, is a lot more conditioning and like mental memory of when I throw my punches and how I throw my punches. And probably the hardest part was not wanting to take that takedown in the middle of the boxing match, because there was a few times he was throwing punches and I was like, I'm about to take this motherfucker down. And then I realized I'm in a boxing match. So I couldn't take him down. But every time I just found the rhythm kind of. I don't know. When I get out there, I just play a song in my head and I just start dancing, and he couldn't hit me. So that was a big part of boxing. You don't get hit and you make sure you hit him.
Exactly, yeah. That's crazy, man, because when I think of boxing, you think of the two greatest, which is Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson. Both had two completely different styles, but when it was time to shine and when they had their time to go in there and do what they do, they both were the greatest, at what they did and their style of fighting. So is it hard doing MMA because you have to learn these multiple types of fight styles, and you have to compete with somebody who knows different fight styles that you might not have ever faced in your life. You know, so how is it handling that? Like thinking of, I mean, I know you say you don't put your mind too into it, as far as like looking at your competition because you have your style and they have theirs. But does it ever bother you or make you nervous when you think like, I've never even heard of this fight style, or I never fought anybody with this style? How can I defend myself against it?
Pretty much, I just make sure I know every one of them. I try to get at least a background in all the styles.
Right.
So when I'm training in my fight camps or what I've been doing for the past month and a half with my new team is just going over everything. Every day I have 2 to 3 trainings a day, and we just go over pretty much every little bit of what I can. Right now, we're going over Muay Thai, like kicking, low kicks, body kicks, switch kicks, just getting my kicks down. And still going over the boxing, still preparing for the jiu-jitsu tournament on Saturday.
Right.
So they just make sure I go over everything and prepare to 100% so I'm confident against whoever comes into the ring with me or the octagon.
So another question is, when it comes to doing MMA, how do you manage to, hear your coaching staff and your team when they're giving you advice from the side and they're like, punch it with the left, hit him with this, hit him with that. How do you hear that when you have fans, whether it's your fans or your other fans or their fans, and they're yelling out and they're screaming and cheering and they're they think you're hyping them up, but then you thinking like, how do you hear everything going on from your coaches while the fans are so loud?
Right. Well, at the boxing fight, I'm so used to hearing my coach now voice, and he's pretty loud. So I pretty much just lock in, and it might take a second for me to hear him say it.
Right.
But I listen pretty good, and when I hear something, I usually time it up right and just hit it when he says to.
Right.
But that's pretty much the only person I can hear while I'm doing what I'm doing and training. Even while I'm sparring in the gym and going against people in the gym, he's pretty much the only voice I can hear because I'm so locked. I know that's who I gotta listen to, and he can see what I can't see.
Right. So, as far as your training goes and your MMA debut, is there anything that you've been struggling with? I know you said you had the injury. Is there anything else that that you haven't been able to accomplish, or not necessarily where you at or where you want to be at yet? Is there anything that you hope to get better at prior to your MMA debut fight?
I've been getting that was the injury I had. It was like a strain. I think I got it because I wasn't so used to throwing as many punches as I was in practice. I was just so used to wrestling.
Right.
But I've been taking I've been taking care of my body way better because that's a big part of being in this. Because if you have an injury, it's going to slow down everything for you.
Yeah.
Because you need your body to go in there and go to war.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be really too worried about it because I know I'm going to be ready. Because if I had to say I wanted to fix anything and make anything better, it'd probably be my boxing. Even though I got that knockout, and even though I know I could probably knock out a lot of people with my hands, I just want them to be more smooth and more controlled.
Right.
Because I went in there the whole fight, and there was times where I was just laying these haymakers on this guy, and I timed him good and I hit him, but I want to look better because I'm just like I said at the beginning, it's for the end goal to be the top in the world, not just to beat some amateur guys.
Right. And so how do you manage to control yourself outside of the ring when you have these people who think they're the toughest in the streets and they can, you just letting that clout get to your head, you ain't about nothing, da-da-da. Like I said, when you're in Baltimore, because even, me having the support that I have right now, you got people trying to call me out and want to start fake beefs and stuff. How do you manage to control yourself when you're in those situations where somebody's like, man, I'll knock you out right here, right now. You know what I mean? Y'all don't care. You're not home no more.
Yeah.
I'll beat you and your whole squad. How do you handle that when in your mind, you're like, I knock people out way bigger than you, way faster than you, way more experienced than you. You don't want these problems. How do you handle yourself? Because I got a smart mouth. You know what I mean? You test me.
Yeah.
I'm going to go at it. I'm going to let you swing first, and I'm going to knock you out second. So how do you do that? How do you control that?
That's actually funny you bring that up because I was so I do security here and now just to get some extra money on the side sometimes.
Right.
And I ran into this guy and he walked. So with all the COVID stuff going on,
Right.
you have to tell they can't walk around with their drinks and stuff.
Right.
So you gotta tell them to sit their drink down before they get up.
Right.
So I walk up to this girl and I'm like, "You gotta sit your drink down, ma'am." And her boyfriend walks up. He's like, "Why are you hitting on my girl, bro?" And I'm like, "Bro, I'm not hitting your girl. I'm just doing my job, bro."
Right.
And he's like, and all his boys come up. So I call up my other guys that do security, man. We're all on a fight team. We're all on the fight team together. So he stands up to me, and we're nose to nose, and I'm staying as calm as possible. And all I can think about is just dropping this motherfucker, bro. And he goes, "I got footwork and hands. What you trying to do?" And I just started dying laughing when he said it. And then eventually they just walked away. But you just gotta, you're mature as a person when you know you can beat someone up, but you don't.
Right.
So, and me beating him up, I'm not gonna win nothing from that. I mean, I can go home and say I didn't let him bitch me,
Right.
or I can go home knowing I didn't beat his face in, get a charge, and then my fight career is over.
And I think that's really where that difference maker is when you have something going, you're not looking for fights. You know what I mean? You're more passive. You still know that you got it, but you're more passive because it's like now money's involved. You know what I mean? Now my family's life is involved. Those who I'm taking care of. So how would you say how is it working a side job when you have a main hustle that is making you money every fight? But how do you manage to still find time to work and train at the same time? Is that hard? Is it kind of simple now?
Yeah, I don't do it. I do it probably like once every few weeks. It's pretty much just to help my coach out because he just needs good security guard. He runs like a few bars and stuff and
Okay.
like areas like that. So we just step in so we can help out because he's a good guy. My coach is a really good dude.
Right.
And it's not that big of a deal. I just know eventually more money's gonna be coming, so I don't mind helping out my coach and stuff like that.
I mean, I could definitely see you doing security because you are, you know what I mean? A lot of people on Instagram you look big, but you are way bigger in person, and I don't think a lot of people might notice that, you know what I mean? They might think that you're small, but you're definitely like toned and like real muscle. Like you might got big arms, but like when you see it in person, it's like all like definition, and it's crazy because I know that you were saying like you're on a diet, you only eat certain things, you're trying different diets out, you're trying different styles out, and it's crazy, man. So what is your diet like right now? Like what are you allowed to eat? What are you not allowed to eat? And what are you going by a specific diet, or are you just kind of mixing different things up?
So for the boxing fight, it was all over the place. I was trying to figure out what was best to build my body to the right thing and just find out, because different diets work for different people. Like something that'll work for me and help me lose 50 pounds might make you gain 20 pounds. You never know. So right now I'm on this new diet. It consists, I actually just got it like 2 days ago. It consists of like 5 meals a day, but them 5 meals a day are small, and 2 of them are like shakes that are like meal replacements.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so 2 of them are like meal replacements, and having 5 meals a day builds your metabolism, which makes you cut the weight. And then between that, I'm getting 1.5 gallons to 2 gallons of water a day to stay hydrated, so that my cut, when I actually do cut weight, is easier to do because water weight's way less.
I would say that liquid weight.
Yeah, weight. Yeah.
Man, is there any sport that you've tried out before boxing, before wrestling, that you tried and you was like, nah, I'm not good at this, or nah, that's not really something I want to do?
I pretty much tried everything, man. Football, basketball, baseball, soccer. I would think the only one that I never really got the hang of was lacrosse, because I tried it one day. I went to like 2 practices and then I was done.
That's crazy because my little brothers, they're twins, and they're like dominating lacrosse right now. Where and it's pretty awkward at times when we go to lacrosse games because it is a majority white sport. You know what I mean? A lot of when people think lacrosse, they think a lot of majority white in the league, but they're like dominating. I mean, they're faster, they're stronger, they're bigger than everybody on there. And, their technique, they have each other. So it's not like they got to wait till the trainer comes. They're training together. And I think that is like something that's unstoppable for them. But I mean, I definitely can respect that because you know the throwing the ball and you got to make sure
Bro,
you angle your stick the
that
right
shit
way.
pissed me off, bro.
I feel you, man. I feel you. So if you weren't doing MMA, what do you think you'd be doing, or what do you think you'd be grinding at? Secondly, because Allen Iverson said that even though he's in the Hall of Fame of basketball, he had the opportunity to go do football, and if he wasn't in the Hall of Fame basketball, he'd be in the Hall of Fame football. So is there anything that if you weren't doing MMA, what would be like? What would you be known for right now, or what do you think you would?
I think it would be football. It would probably be football because right before I decided to leave for wrestling for college, I was actually had like 5 or 10 offers for football.
Right.
For middle linebacker, being a middle linebacker. I think that would have been it, but while I was doing that, I just knew my love for sports wasn't into that as much as it is for wrestling.
Right.
Like when you fell in love with doing podcasts and stuff, you just
Right.
knew that this was it. Like
Right,
this was
right.
what you wanted to do. You like talking to people. I like punching people in the face and getting punched.
Right. And so what do you feel like really created that love for the sport? Because, you know, different people have different loves, I understand that, but what really was like the changing moment when you were like, I could do this for the rest of my life, for my career?
I think the main thing is what this sport teaches you outside of the sport. It teaches you that there's going to be things that you have to overcome. There's going to be people you have to meet, hands you have to shake, doors you have to get into before you can get to the top.
Right.
There's going to be things you have to do that you don't want to do, sacrifice things that you don't want to sacrifice to get up and do this again. There's going to be days you don't feel like doing it,
Right.
and you still got to get up and do it because those are the days you learn the most. And I think that's just a big part of everything. And this sport's done so much more to me than just allowing me to fight somebody. It's taught me how to live life pretty much and fight against things that I didn't want to fight against. When you're backed in a corner, you just keep swinging until you see the light.
Right. So how would you say, or what would you say are the pros and cons that you've experienced when it comes to doing MMA? Like, what are the biggest pros, the biggest cons? Because a lot of people, when they think of, you know, Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, like in their prime, they were loving it. They loved it so much. Then you see the damage that was done to them, PTSD, anxiety, and all these after effects. Do you feel like your trainer allows you to last a little bit longer and have less injuries? Or, you know, what is your pros and cons list to it? Like, what has, from your experiences?
I think the pros, well, with my trainers and stuff, they make sure that, like, if I'm getting hit in sparring or something happens and they see that I got rocked or... Because I've been rocked in sparring. My partners are 10 times better than all the people I go against.
Right.
So I have really good partners that give me the works when I need them.
Right.
My coach does a really good job of making sure I don't get injured or I don't take any blows that I don't need to take outside of the octagon or in the boxing ring.
Right.
And I think some of the cons are when you do have them days when you get beat up in practice, you think about it the whole night. You're like, what did I do wrong?
Right.
What can I do to fix it? Remember about 2 weeks before the fight, I had a really bad day of practice. My sparring partner, he was just piecing me up, and I was catching all the hits, and I was like, what the hell, man? Like, I just sat there after practice. I was like, I'm doing all this work and nothing's working. And I was probably up till 4 a.m. and I was just going over in my head what I did wrong. And that's probably the worst part of it, just having them bad days of practice where you know you could have did better, but you didn't do better.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, I know you got practice soon. I know you said you about to get to it. Before we leave, is there anything that you would like to say to those supporters, those who have been with you since day one and those just now finding out about you? Is there anything you want them to know about you that, you know, may or may not be true, or, you know, that they might have heard of through rumors? Or is it something that you want to clear up, or maybe something that you want to give advice and give some motivation to them?
If you're looking to get into all this, just like I said before, take it on 100%. I appreciate everyone supporting me, and if you don't support me, then screw you. And there's a lot more coming. As soon as all this world, whatever the hell is going on, government, everything going on right now, I got so much more stuff coming. There's gonna be fights after fights because all I want to do is fight,
Right.
and I want to get to the top. I appreciate everybody who does support, and there's a lot of big things coming. And I'm happy that I got to do this interview with you, man.
Right.
Really appreciate it.
No doubt, man. I'm excited to have this opportunity with you. So one more thing, I know you have a lot of outside work that you do as far as like being a brand ambassador and promoting certain brands and stuff. So how can somebody who might be interested in doing business with you, how can they get in contact with you about any business inquiries and anything that they might want you to be a brand ambassador for? How can they get in contact with you, and what type of brands are you looking to work with that you might not have worked with in the future?
Okay, I should be having some shirts coming out by next week. I have designs coming out and stuff that I'm picking through on next Monday, whatever the date is, that I have shirts coming out.
Right.
So you guys definitely check that out on my Instagram at Mindless Hulk, MINDLESSHULK.
Right.
And right now that's pretty much the main thing I have because I deactivated all my other stuff for a while because I didn't want nobody backing out of fights when they see me.
Hey, you know what I mean? Hey, look, when we first started talking and I reached out to you, when I seen on your page, I was like, nah, this dude, I'm not fight. I would never fight this dude. I would never go crazy. You know what I mean? I never been like scared, like if it came down to it, but it's just when you see something and you see that this is what they know, and it reminds me of Kevin Hart when he was talking about like, fighting somebody on the streets, like he seen somebody get knocked out for the first time. He was like, fighting is not in my family. Like fighting is not for everybody. You know what I mean? And I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, so what is like when do you have kids?
What is it?
You have kids?
No, I don't have no kids.
Okay, yeah. So what? Like, how are you gonna handle your kids? Like, are you gonna train them to fight from young, or are you gonna kind of keep them out of that? Based on your experiences, because I know a lot of fighters or basketball players, football players, they keep their children out of what they already did, and once they earn that money, they kind of just take care of them and make them go to educational route. Why do you think that is, or how do you plan to handle your kids if if you're blessed enough to have them?
I found the sport on my own. I learned it. I had to go find out who I wanted to work with, where I wanted to go with it, when I wanted to do this and that. So when I have kids, if I do, I'll probably just approach them about it, be like, hey, this is what I did. Check it out. And if they like it, I'm going to let them do it. But regardless, I'll just support whatever they want to do. If they want to go be freaking anything, I'll support what they got to do. But I would love to have some kids that want to do what I did because they're going to be some beasts.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, like if they have your genes and your blood, I'm sure they're gonna be dominating whatever they do. You know what I mean? And they're gonna be a true trouble. Thank you so much again for doing this interview with me, and I'm definitely looking forward to doing a part 2 after your MMA debut, so you can talk a little bit about how that first fight was, what you learned about yourself, what you still have yet to perfect in your fighting styles. What do you plan to learn in your first MMA fight? Like, what do you plan to learn, or what have you learned that you hope to be able to utilize in your first fight? Because that can last 1 round, or that can last 4, 5, 6 rounds. So how do you prepare for that? Are you looking to go for the first round knockout? What are your goals for your first fight?
Right now, my plan is knock him out in the first round with a head kick. So,
man, I be watching. I forgot what the dude's name is. I forgot what he does on Instagram, but when I think of it, I'll say it. But I know he be watching Filet when he be doing the commentaries on the videos, and the dude be getting knocked out with a head kick, and he's like, "You saw the foot coming to your face." Da, da, da. Like I can only imagine getting a kick to the face from somebody your size and your weight. Like I know that that's your foot, but the power and practice that goes behind that, I'd be scared. I ain't gonna lie.
I don't want to have to use my wrestling unless I absolutely have to, because going in there and wrestling somebody ain't gonna sell tickets.
All right, so and one last question, as far as your career plans after you're finished the MMA and you finally made enough money to say, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and try to start a family, or you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and focus on myself now. You are focused on yourself because obviously you had to put a lot of work in to get here. What do you plan to do after MMA? What is your afterlife? What is your after plan?
Probably I want to, after I'm done with everything and I reach my goals and I'm done doing what I'm done, my fighting career is completely done, I'm probably going to want to expand my name,
Right.
get some gyms started up, become a coach probably for maybe a wrestling team, or maybe, I don't know, maybe start training professional fighters coming up.
Right.
And just keep surrounding myself around what I started with.
Right.
But I don't know what I would do without it.
So, what have you won any belts, any championships yet? I'm sure you have, but do you have any titles or any championships that might mean something to somebody who's watching this video that is looking on that journey, or maybe has the same goals to reach those championships and those belts?
Well, I won a national title my second year of wrestling in high school. It was a mile-wide national title. And I won a whole bunch of small tournaments, and I was a state placer. But I should be having a few boxing titles coming up soon that we're scheduling out, and an MMA amateur title within the next few months.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, cool, man. Well, like I said, man, I know I keep saying it, but thank you so much again for blessing me with this opportunity and remaining humble, man, because you could have switched up once you got a final debut date for MMA. You could have switched up when you went to college and did your thing up there. Just thank you again. And hopefully we can get a part 2 where we can talk more about your MMA debut. We can talk more about the hard work that went into it, and if it actually paid off, because this is a great conversation to learn about the past you, but we want to learn the future you as well. We want to be there along the journey. My supporters, your supporters, I know they want to hear back from both of us and see us work together. So thank you again for taking time out of your day. Good luck with your practice today, man. I know I'm at home. I'm chilling. I did my work. This is my job right here. I did my interview. But hopefully you have a good practice and be safe.
Appreciate it, man.
I definitely congratulate you on everything you've achieved this far. And I know it's only up from here, man. I
appreciate it, man.
No doubt.
Thanks for having me, man. Everybody, go check out Demolition Fight Team and subscribe to the YouTube channel so y'all can see my fights come through.
Ain't nobody too good, man.